Hello everyone, and welcome to the final project presentation for Corrupted. My name is Joshua Lipp, and I worked on the game's story and level design. Corrupted is a side-scrolling platform game that immerses the player inside a computer as a top-secret government antivirus known as Surge. Using Surge's abilities, players are given one clear objective: to defeat the viruses within the software before it becomes corrupted. Our theme is a digital world full of action and puzzles that Surge must maneuver through in order to complete each level. We focused on a great deal of neon colors and input cel shading to make each element pop and feel digital. As a team, we knew we wanted a game that was full of color, sounds, and life. When we first discussed our ideas for Corrupted, we all instantly knew this was the type of game we wanted to build and bring to life. With a game like this, we knew the possibilities were endless. However, with the time restraint and loss in team members, we had to make sacrifices and do without many of our original concepts and level designs.
Hello, my name is Rex Cole, artist and level designer for Game Corrupted. I'd like to take a moment to discuss the characters of our game. With the main character Surge, we knew we needed something unique yet fit into the digital theme. And the traditional bipedal character just didn't seem to fit in this situation. With the player's primary abilities being jump and warp, we wanted something to emphasize those abilities, and the gyro seemed to be the best choice to visually enhance these actions. Although we initially began the project developing the main character Surge with an elaborate backstory and dialogue similar to Q*bert, such things were simply put on hold when it came to the project moving swiftly forward. With the enemies, we really wanted them to exist in this world and be believable to the environment. So, we based the core enemies and bosses around real computer viruses such as the Worm and Trojan. We then used what was appropriate to the character to develop their special abilities, such as the Trojan Stomp, the Wasp's Bonsai Attack, or the Spider-Bot's Jump. Insects and sea creatures also seemed to be an appropriate choice for the world, so we used them as a reference to create a few low-level enemies, such as the Wasp and Flyer, which is loosely based around the Stingray. Other enemies, such as the shielded Spider-Bot and enemy mine, were created to enhance the environment specifically, push player progression, and strengthen our theme. Others, such as the Trojan boss, took on a few iterations due to them just not fitting into the environment. Now, when it came to the theme, we had a good idea from the start on how we wanted it to look, yet it was a bit more difficult to capture the feeling. We wanted the world to be digital yet still be interactive. We wanted it to be occupied in emotion, such as these viruses had taken over here. Yet we needed it to be very clear to the player what was to be able to be interacted with and what was strictly environment.
Hi, my name is Thomas Haskell, and I am the producer and lead programmer for Team Corrupted. Within the game Corrupted, we had three primary abilities that we were having the player utilize throughout their playthrough. The first ability that the player encountered was Warp, and Warp was the basic movement teleport ability that would help the player not only get around the map faster, but evade enemies and reach separate objects in different locations. And we also decided to add firewalls into the game where the player would be able to break through these using Warp. The next ability we introduced the player to was our Static Discharge. And originally, Static Discharge cost a set amount of charge that we had given the player, and the Static Discharge would block projectiles. It would destroy any enemies that walked in. But we felt that there was something missing with this ability, so we decided to manipulate it some and came up with an idea to have the Static Discharge decrease charge while it was activated, and then stop decreasing it when you turned it off. And in this way, the player could then activate it whenever he wants and use Warp while it's activated, so that he can quickly destroy enemies. And we felt that it better emphasized using Warp to attack more than just defend and escape. The third ability we had introduced to player 2 was the Time Bomb. And this was a nifty ability in that the player could set it down and reactivate it to destroy it. There were a few problems with getting this in there, though. A lot of issues with placing it and the player becoming instantly destroyed once it was placed. We finally came up with a solution that fixed this issue, but it's still not as great as we had anticipated that it would be. And we had hoped to do something more with the bomb and give the player some obstacles throughout the environment that they would have to destroy. And we had originally had the bomb blowing up firewalls, but this kind of conflicted with the warp ability destroying firewalls, and we decided to just scrap the mechanic altogether and leave the time bomb strictly as a weapon.
With the level design, it really appeared that we had endless choices when it came to its creation, yet it remained more important to craft the environment based around the player's abilities to enhance gameplay and support the player's choices. Areas such as the wind drop, the crushing walls, laser lift, and pickup locations were specifically designed to provoke these actions in the player. Other areas such as enemy attacks, platform locations, and also WoW pickups were placed to balance gameplay by exhausting specific resources.
With the music in the game, we wanted to do something special. We didn't want to make the music ourselves or find cheesy music online that we could fit in there. So we decided to ask one of our buddies, who is an audio engineer, if he would like to create the music for us. And he was reluctant to agree, and he offered us 12 tracks that he could create for the game. And we had worked with him and talked with him as to what type of style that we wanted and the feel of the game, and we provided him with builds and updates as much as we could to get the best possible feel for the music. And we wound up with something that we felt added a lot of aesthetic value to our game and gave the player a sense of not urgency, but progressiveness that kept them going throughout the level.
As far as the menu was concerned, we really had to remain focused on what was essential for the player, such as the pause, return, and quit game features, or the level select, and that the text was very clear and easy to read for the player. Over the course of the project, the choices we made and the majority of the changes that we went through were based on feedback from the player or made strictly to support the usability of the game. The controls were such a case, with the player possessing multiple abilities, each with its own unique action. We had exhausted all of the standard controls. The keys themselves went through multiple iterations while we strived to achieve the highest and best results for usability and gameplay for the player. Overall, I feel what I learned and what we benefited from the most was that not to ever underestimate pre-production. Although we did slim down the scope of the project a few times during the course of development due to lack of time or resources, multiple times we saved time and resources during the course of our project due to the extra effort we spent in pre-production.
The sound effects in our game were created by two gentlemen, Alexander Steele and Lester Muniz. And these guys, they were fantastic. They had so many different variations and they offered so much, and their help was invaluable to the project. And for anybody that's just starting out their final project, the guys that you will be paired with will definitely be a major part of the game you are creating. So be sure to communicate with them and provide as many details for them as you can so that they can better do their job. Because ultimately, it's going to be the sound effects, it's going to be the visuals, and it's going to be the mechanics that the players remember. And all of these revolve around having specific sounds that highlight the abilities and variations that you are allowing the player.
Our team met nearly every day via Skype or Google Hangout to discuss and work on our project. Considering each member was in a different time zone and worked around different schedules, these programs really allowed us to keep in touch and complete each task in a timely manner. Video and audio chat was key for this project because they allowed for quick communication and allowed our team members to assist one another with issues we ever ran into. Corrupted has taught the team a great deal about teamwork and time management. One of the biggest lessons we learned was how to scope and what information was important when doing so. Once the project began, we also learned that many of the concepts weren't going to make it into the game, and had to quickly revise many of the game's elements to fit those needs. In conclusion, each member was able to take something away from Corrupted. We each learned the importance of teamwork and just how many man-hours actually go into building a game. Also, it was important for us to see as a team that a game's scope is bound to change throughout the course of development, and even in the end may never look like your beginning work. This concludes our project, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation, and thanks for watching, guys.